The ridiculous distribution of orbitals in quantum mechanics. Using Cartesian coordinates that do not exist in the natural or real cosmic structure. The cosmic structure we observe is spherical, rotational, polar, with gravitational and magnetic fields that construct orbits and orbital systems in a balance of energy, forces, and motions, and with a coordinate structure and orbital systems. While the human mathematical mind thinks in a squaring and cubic way, using Cartesian coordinates. That is, it has nothing to do with cosmic reality. So, any mathematician, a quantum mathematician, of course, who freely lets his mind rest from his indoctrinated and incongruous mathematical models and begins to observe the cosmos and nature that surrounds him, if he is honest, will quickly discover, verify, and understand that the mathematical and geometric structure and adjustments he believes in and uses do not exist in that nature and cosmos, where he later tries to apply them. Friends, both for bears in their lethargy and for dreamers absorbed in their fantasies, it is sometimes necessary and convenient to use and warn them with harsh and strong words, ridiculous, stupid, etc., to wake them up and bring them back to reality, and to make them think that they are outside of said reality and that they should review their considerations and postulates. And this is the case of quantum mechanics and its teachings or pretensions, which do not conform to nature and cosmic reality, and which operate outside the structural mathematics of the cosmos and nature. And why these harsh terms? How can they be ridiculous? Well, that's why, because they don't realize that perhaps we are only mathematics apprentices, too inexperienced and pretentious in the face of the greatness of the cosmos. Please, let nature and the cosmos teach us how they act and function, not tell them how to behave, and that we still have much to observe and learn to find mathematical systems and coordinates that correspond to reality, for example, the study and development of orbital systems dependent on centers or nuclei of energy and power, which redistribute to satellites or orbitals around them, measured in relation to their distances, rotational speeds, etc. That is, the cosmos appears to us to be spherical, rotational, concentric in nuclei of matter and energy. These nuclei develop pairs of antagonistic forces, gravity and magnetic forces, which rotate said nuclei and their fields, thereby creating a polar direction, spin, ns, and a rotational and equatorial distribution of satellites around them, through positive, plus symbol, orbits defined by their magnetic fields. And to fine-tune these events a bit, we can use simple orbital coordinates, based on the potential for nuclear attraction, and the forces and velocities of the orbitals around them to counteract them. But no Cartesian coordinates cubes, with orbitals distributed laterally along these coordinates, in simple, magical, and probabilistic levitation. Please, who has ever seen anything like this in nature, or throughout the cosmos? Therefore, and forgive me Schrödinger and his sympathizers and co-religionists, but the phrase or statement, the square of the wave function should be considered as the probability of finding an orbital at such and such a location, is a ridiculous pretense and lacks any physical mathematical logic that shows us the forces and reasons for the necessary movements and positions of orbitals, and of course, without ever having verified that probability of being found. Therefore, for any critical physicist, like myself, it can be very sad and discouraging to see how millions of quantum colleagues live deceived and immersed in a world of imaginary, incongruous, illogical indoctrination that is at odds with the set of known and proven physical observations and laws, and whose doctrine and advice is: pay no attention to the everyday life we observe, but to the imaginary and magical indoctrination we teach you. That is to say, quantum mechanics is not a science of observation, discussion, and logical verification, but rather a pseudo-religion with the acceptance of incongruous pre-established axioms. That's all for now, friends. Thank you very much for your attention.